Back in 2018, Korean League of Legends was in a crisis. SK-T1's glory days felt like a distant memory, and China was dominating, with Europe not too far behind. In fact, Europe was at the point where they were knocking out the LCK from MSI and Worlds tournaments. Everyone was asking, is Korea finished? Has the gap finally closed? And then, in 2019, Damwon showed up. With Nagori tearing up the top lane, ShowMaker talking smack and backing it up, and Canyon putting on the most absurd performances that we have seen up until that point, this team didn't just rebuild the LCK. They took Korea back to the top and stamped their name in League of Legends history. Part 1: The Golden Era and the Near Repeat. After finishing as the second best region for so many years, in 2018 and 2019, China finally caught up to the LCK and began winning tournaments of their own. In 2018, Invictus Gaming won the World Championship after defeating Fnatic 3-0 in the finals. And in 2019, FPX beat G2, also 3-0, to win back-to-back Worlds for China. Korea didn't even make it to the finals this year, getting knocked out by Europe, who was quickly becoming the second best region. For many people who grew up watching LCK dominate every single tournament, this was a big shock, as Korea was no longer the best region in the world. Korea was facing an identity crisis, and they needed a new superstar team to come in and replace the void that teams like Samsung Galaxy and SKT had left behind. Rumors began circulating of a lesser known team with very high potential called Damwon. Damwon was in the Challenger League in 2018, but they were good enough to the point where they were the training partners for Fnatic when Fnatic made it to their final in 2018. In 2019, they got promoted into the LCK, and they became the first team to qualify for Worlds in the same year that they joined the LCK. Going into the 2020 season, they had Nugger in the top lane, Canyon in the jungle, ShowMaker in mid lane, Ghost as the AD carry, and Beryl in the support role. Damwon won the summer split 3-0 against DRX and headed into Worlds as the number 1 seed and the favorites to win the tournament, despite only being in their second year of top tier play. At Worlds, they got their revenge on G2 for knocking them out the year before and made it all the way to the final, where they beat Suning Gaming 3-1 to win the championship. After winning Worlds in only their second year, sponsors took notice immediately. In 2021, automotive giant Kia stepped in as the primary sponsor, rebranding the team to Damwon Kia. After bringing glory back to Korea, DK became a very popular team, not only in Korea, but internationally, largely off the back of ShowMaker and Canyon, who had both exploded into world-renowned superstars. And they also had great personalities, which made fans love them. Following the 2020 World Championship, Nagori departed for FPX in the LPL. Khan then came in as the new top laner for Damwon. At this point, Khan was at the peak of his career and was considered by many as the best top laner in the world. However, it was Khan's final year before facing military service, and he was desperate to secure a world title before stepping away. With this new roster, DK stepped into 2021. They clicked immediately, stomping the 2021 Spring Split with the dominant 3-0 sweep over Genji. They then went into MSI, pushing all the way to Game 5 in the finals against RNG, only losing to an unbelievable performance from star ADC Gala. Returning to Korea, DK did not let up. They bested T1 3-1 to hoist the Summer Cup and enter Worlds 2021 as a heavily favored team to take it all. They boasted arguably the best top lane, jungle, mid lane, and support in the entire world at that time. Unfortunately, in a heart-wrenching Game 5, EDG took down DK and Khan retired. Khan went off into military service, Ghost and Beryl departed, and the golden roster began to fracture. Part 2: The Downward Spiral. Over the next few years, Damwon scrambled to rediscover their identity. Nagori briefly returned in 2022 before officially retiring, leaving Canyon and ShowMaker as the final remaining pillars of the original core. While fans assumed that the iconic mid lane jungle duo would stay together forever, the end of 2023 changed everything. Chovy began to assemble a powerhouse roster at Gen G, and Canyon left DK to chase glory with Chovy. Through every triumph and every crash, ShowMaker remained. From 2022 to 2025, DK tried buying their way back to the top, bringing in premier talent like Kingen, Deft, Kana, Aiming, and even Barrel. But the silverware stayed out of reach. From 2022 to 2025, DK slumped into a middle of the pack team, forced to watch super teams from Gen G, HLE, and T1 rule the LCK. Yet, through the dry spell, DK maintained a massive fan base, almost entirely powered by the charisma of the man in the mid lane. Part 3: The Rebuild and the Rammus Incident. After Canyon's departure at the end of 2023, DK shifted strategies. They promoted prodigy jungler Lucid from their academy roster to fill Canyon's massive shoes. Following another mediocre 2024 campaign, DK committed fully to a youth rebuild around ShowMaker. They brought up academy top laner Siwoo and re-signed their world champion support Beryl, who came off winning another world title with DRX in 2022. On paper, this blend of hungry rookies and seasoned veterans looked lethal. In the summer regional finals, with the world sticking on the line, DK had the ultimate storybook chance: eliminate the defending world champions T1, who had just won back-to-back worlds. But Beryl locked in support Rammus, and it went horribly wrong. He completely ran it down, and T1 secured the final spot, went on to win another world championship, and DK was left watching from home. Part 4: The Financial Collapse of Damwon. Going into 2026, Kia was entering their 5th year of sponsorship, but 4 years of missed trophies were taking a toll. Aiming and Barrel left the team after DK failed to qualify in 2025. Behind closed doors, sponsor money was beginning to run out. Unable to afford star contracts, DK pivoted to a budget roster, signing challenger prospects Career and Smash. Now, DK was running 4 rookies and ShowMaker. With Siwoo in the top lane, Lucid in the jungle, ShowMaker in the mid lane, Smash at AD carry, and Career as a support, expectations for this budget DK squad were rock bottom. Yet, from time to time, they showed flashes of brilliance. The first time we saw this was during the LCK Cup in 2026, when they reverse swept T1 in the lower bracket. They then faced off against BFX for a chance to compete at first stand, but unfortunately they got beaten 3-0 and were unable to attend, and crucially also lost out in payout money from first stand. In the spring split, they managed to get 5th place with an 11-7 record, which put them on the road to MSI tournament. They beat Brion in the first round, and then went on to face KT Rolster, and they were up 2-0 against KT Rolster before they got reverse swept this time around. Once again, Decade had failed to qualify for an international event and the money that came along with it. They did, however, manage to qualify for the Esports World Cup, which would come after MSI. Rumors began circulating at around MSI that DK players hadn't been paid and that the organization was quietly preparing to sell its LCK spot. This came as major news because DK is one of the few teams that has won Worlds, so it's very important not only for the LCK, but for Riot to make sure that DK sale is handled accordingly, and that there's no drama surrounding it. Part 5: Against all odds and fighting to survive. In mid-July, the rumors were officially confirmed when DK released a statement. To summarize the statement, basically the Dplus KIA front office apologized to fans and partners. They confirmed that the club is actively being put up for sale, and they're doing it so that they can secure a stable future and maintain global competitiveness. The front office admitted that delayed administrative procedures during the sale negotiations disrupted their cash flow, resulting in player salaries being delayed by 1 month. They expressed deep gratitude to the players and the coaching staff for their trust during the transition, promising to resolve the back pay immediately and prioritize the team's stability moving forward. The timing could not have been worse. The players hadn't been paid in a month, and they were just packing their bags for EWC. Under the standard LCK contract rules, a month of unpaid wages gives players full legal right to terminate their contracts and walk away. They didn't walk. Despite having every reason to abandon ship, the squad made a pact to stick together. Rising stars like Siwoo, Lucid, and Smash could have easily jumped ship to lucrative contracts in the LPL or the LCS, but they chose loyalty to the organization that gave them their shot. That camaraderie triggered one of the most unbelievable runs in modern League of Legends history. Unpaid and fighting for survival, DK tore through the tournament. They defeated MSI runners-up BLG, conquered their LCK kryptonite Genji, and knocked out Carmine Core to lift the EWC trophy. Part 6, the final chapter. Winning EWC gave DK far more than just a trophy. It gave them back their pride. For ShowMaker, after years of grueling heartbreak and rebuilding, it was a poetic reminder that resilience pays off. The prize money from EWC buys the team enough financial runway to pay salaries while the organization looks for a buyer. But long term, the future remains a mystery. ShowMaker's contract runs through November of 2026, and mandatory military service looms in 2028. This may very well be his last true shot at a returning at the top of the world stage. Whatever happens to the brand, one thing is certain: Damwon's heart never stopped beating. If you made it this far, I want to thank you so much for your support. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and ring the bell for more notifications when videos come your way. Thank you very much.